geht weiter. Hey, vielen Dank für eure Geduld, dass ihr ein bisschen Zeit hattet. Wir machen es mal bequem. Das ist der Franz, ich bin der Frank. Wir haben es recht einfach gehalten mit den Namen heute, denn wir haben noch ein paar hier gleich auf der Bühne sitzen. Aber schön, dass ihr noch da seid.
Ich würde sagen, wir warten noch kurz, bis ein bisschen was reintröppelt. Und wir starten direkt. Wunderbar.
Wir kriegen Zeit. Die anderen kommen jetzt noch, also sie kommen jetzt nacheinander von der Garderobe. Wir freuen uns auch, dass Alexander mit dabei ist, der Producer und Manager der Band, der ja am Anfang schon ein bisschen was erzählt hat zu der aktuellen Show und der Tour von Pussy Riot. Und wir hoffen, dass es okay ist für euch, dass wir das Interview in Russisch machen. Wir machen es in Englisch, glaube ich, ne?
Ja, lieber auf Englisch.
Okay, so first of all, welcome Alexander and Pussy Riot.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to add that Sasha, it's not our manager, it's our producer.
And talisman.
Okay, we were told something different, we're sorry. In the end, you're a collective, so all comes together and all belongs together. Anyhow, how did you like it here tonight?
So let me introduce once again those people who are on stage. Masha will join us, I'm sure, a little bit later. She will also sign the T-shirts there. So Vasily Bogatov is author of all legendary videos of Pussy Riot from 2011. And you have seen his video footage all the way during our show. Diana Burkot is one of the founding members and kind of musical core of our show, and she was in this historical punk prayer, which started the new phase of oppressions of protest arts in Russia. Diana Burkot. And Olga Borisova, who joined Masha Alokhina after being for a short time a policewoman and became like one of the most active actionists of Pussy Riot, participated in many actions from northeast Siberia to Trump Tower in New York, and now she's also our stage debut star. Olga Borisova.
That was a fine introduction. So, I'm just starting with some questions, Olga. When you protested like 10 years ago in Moscow, in a cathedral, could you imagine that like right now you're protesting against the same regime in another country on a tour that is like starting a war in Europe?
Okay, my English not good enough, and Olga will help me to translate.
That is just fine.
Nobody could imagine the consequences, and first of all, we just wanted to change our political situation. And now it's very important to talk about what we believe in and what we stand for, and we stand with Ukraine, so we want really to move all focuses to Ukraine right now in the war.
Okay,
we don't want to
we're
interrupt
getting
you.
complete.
Yeah, Masha will call.
Welcome back on stage.
Maria Jochina,
Take a seat where you
just make
want.
yourself comfortable.
Let me introduce our writer and the woman who joined us again as a leader in the last moment, Masha Alokhina. And her girlfriend, who escaped 1 month ago, and she was also under house arrest for supporting Alexei Navalny. She spent almost 1 year under different kinds of limitation of freedoms. Lucy Stein.
We have to talk about your really awesome escape story later, Masha. Thank you, Alexander. It's good having you here because you are the one who knows all the ladies and the project and the collective best. You're from Russia, but you can't protest in Russia. You cannot do what you want as artists there right now. How does that feel for you?
Who said that I cannot do what I want? Who
We
said
can,
that?
we can, we can.
I can.
We're talking about legally doing
And
it.
actually, I was doing that. And I'm here not because I cannot do what I want. Why I'm here, I want to speak with all of you. And our concert is a message for European audience and for German audience especially, because the goal of this tour is to stand with Ukraine and also to give an understanding what is going on in Russia for many years. It didn't happen, on 24th of February. It started for a long time ago. And money for all these repressions goes from here. It goes from the West and from Germany especially. So one of our main goals is to call for embargo of Russian oil and gas. You've seen now just one story of imprisonment, and it was, very loud and bright story, and the whole world knew that we went to prison. Now, criminal cases opening every day, and every day people goes to prison, and much more than for 2 years. It's from 5 to 15 now years in prison just for calling the war and for spreading the information about this war, because this information is considered by Russian state as a fake. So if you post the photo from Bucha, Russian state says that it's fake, and they open a criminal case, and people are going to prison. Still going to prison, and there is a protest in Russia.
I would like to tell you about this. I want to explain this new criminal article that Masha talked about. This is new criminal article about fakes, about the war, about the military operation, because
a special military operation.
Special military operation, yeah. So basically, any information that is not confirmed with Russian government considered fake. So if you post something about what happened in Bucha, in Mariupol, you name it, if it's true, it's considered fake in Russia. And you can go to prison from 5 years to up to 15 years in prison by this criminal article because of this new law.
It sounds like an Orwell's world. And actually in Belarus, in the country which is very nearby Russia, and Lukashenko is the fucking dictator who supports Putin for many years, just recently, just 1 week ago, they banned George Orwell and 1984, just banned this book. They're burning the books in the streets like in all the, films which you've probably seen. It's just happening right now. And this is very real. And давай.
I would like to tell you about Alexandra Skochilenko, which is a feminist activist from St. Petersburg, the city I was born in. She made an amazing action. She exchanged price tags in the supermarkets. So she would put something, some big amount of rubles, like a huge price that is doesn't make any sense, to attract people's attention. And then she would write, Russia is committing war crimes in Ukraine. This amount of children killed by Russian army, etc. She done it in the many supermarkets in St. Petersburg. Of course, now she's arrested, and the minimal sentence she'll got is 5 years in prison for that.
So you're talking about the Russian regime and policies there that you think that are not right and that are obviously not right. Do you think touring here in Europe might have an impact on the Russian regime and the people out there and might help them?
As I said before, Putin's regime has sponsors. And this sponsor is Europe and Germany. After 2014, when Crimea was annexed, there was no reaction, almost no reaction from the West. There was a weapon embargo, you know, the ban of selling weapons to Russia, to Putin's state. And even after that, Germany avoided this embargo and were selling weapons to Putin. And now everyone see what happened after. So the thing is that to overcome Putin is international goal, because Russians are already suffering. I have friends who are imprisoned now, and I'm here for saying, you know, from their names as well. And the thing is that you have something which you forgot that you have. You have an option to go to the street and protest and go back home without bruises. This is a lot.
I would like to also to tell you about one action that feminist anti-war resistance done in March. So it was actually in many Russian cities. They organized this action. It was women dressed in black holding white roses. And it was homage to the action of anti-fascists during Hitler's Germany. They were holding white roses in protest to Hitler. So Russia is protesting. Russia is finding new way to protest, new symbols. They're organizing movements. Yeah, so we have a lot of new initiatives. And of course, we have new criminal cases every day.
How does this all feel for you? You're now here in Germany on a tour. It was your final show tonight, was it? What? Was your final show tonight?
Final in Germany.
In Germany, yeah, in
Germany.
Germany,
For
as I said, yeah. And 600 people here listening to you, not only your music, not only watching your show, they're here for listening to you talking about your protest and your political message. How does that feel for you? What does this give you back?
It's very strange question, because I think we are here not to talk about our amazing feelings. Because history doesn't care about our feelings. And, you know, some of the people are not alive anymore. And there is kind of, you know, there were some statements that to make an embargo for Russian gas means that some of the houses will be, you know, in cold. But I should remind that there are a lot of people who doesn't have home anymore at all.
Or family.
And if you will go to the street and if you will push your politicians, just stop only speaking, but do things, it will be really amazing, and that will be the best result of our concert and our activity and our activism.
In Germany especially, it's very important to talk about politics and about the situation and inspire people, because in Germany there are a lot of conservative right-wing politicians that are sponsored by Russia, that loves Putin, so it's very important to talk about this in Germany.
I think, yeah, that's one trend which started from the beginning of the war, of canceling Russia, and somehow some of our culture was somehow cancelled. But this is not kind of Tchaikovsky who bombed Mariupol, you know? And this is Putin's army bombed that.
And this is like counterproductive, because in Russian propaganda TV, which is all TV that you have, that we have, sorry, And they use it in propaganda. They show it. Look what they're doing. They're canceling Tchaikovsky. They're refusing to play some like shows written by Russian writers. So they use it actually against you and against
Who
the idea.
should be cancelled is all of those people, doesn't matter which passports they hold, who support Putin. These people should be cancelled.
The people that stole money from Russian people came here, building palaces, buying apartments here. They should be cancelled. The politicians that advising them should be cancelled.
Maria, there's one thing we really need to talk about, and a lot of people have heard about your escape, like how you got here, how you got out of
Okay, I will
detention.
give the microphone to Lucy. This is my girlfriend, and that was her idea.
I heard
She
about
bought this green uniform, and she was the first who did that.
You need to tell about it.
So, yeah, I bought it firstly not for escaping from Russia, but for just to live, to be able to leave our apartment where we lived with Masha, because there always were some cars with police guys, and they were following us and detain and arrest us a lot. So I bought it to just to live, to be able to leave apartment, and then when I decided to escape, I just did the same thing.
So just to make sure everyone knows what you're talking about, you bought that delivery woman uniform.
I can say it by myself. So during last year, I think since July of 2021, we've been arrested. I was arrested 6 times. Lucy was arrested 3 times. So, and that was usually 2 grey, amazing cars with political police, which were very nearby the entrance of our house. So when I was in prison, when I was at detention center, Lucy was coordinating all my life, and was responsible that I have good food and good clothes and so on. So she should not be imprisoned, but she has her own life, and sometimes she needs to go out from the flat. So that's why she bought delivery club. It's a Russian delivery food service uniform, and when she needs to go out from the flat, she was redressed herself and went out, and that worked. Yeah, so in one moment she did this thing and left the uniform at the flat of, let's say, our person, her sister flat, and when I made my amazing decision to go and to participate the tour, and the flat of my friend was surrounded by police, and I used the same method. Yep.
That was like an escape that looked like a Hollywood movie plot. Were there like any doubts during that escape that it might go wrong?
It's not the only like a Hollywood episode from my life. It's I should say that it's not. I mean, we used. Okay, we used a lot of methods, to just make these political police guys false, and we used different uniforms, for a lot of times. For example, during the World Cup, Peter and girls, they were using police uniform to go to the World Cup to the field, because if you use the police uniform and pretending that you're a policeman or policewoman, they are kind of do not question you. Yeah, so that worked. For our rainbow flags action, we used a uniform of community service workers, like the very orange, bright uniform. And we were pretending that we decorating the city And when some guards were asking, like, what are you doing? We were like, we are decorating the city for the birthday of the president and putting rainbow flags to these amazing buildings like FSB and Ministry of Culture and so on. So also, I should mention the suitcase. Once, after one of our actions against the police violence, again, political police were just near the house, and I was at some flat, and I wanted to go to another flat, and I cannot go out because that was 2 cars just very nearby. And we used a suitcase. So Lucy and one other artist, Roma, they were pretending that they are a couple going to the airport to the holidays in Turkey. And another friend, Oля, she pretending to be a driver. And they were going to this Turkey holiday with this huge suitcase. And inside the suitcase was me. So, yeah, and we recorded all of that. We have footage of all of that. One day we will put it all together. Yeah, so we used... oh, yeah.
Another one.
This amazing postscription after this story. So we moved me from one flat to another. And then we were like spending time there, and then police, of course, by the billing of the phone, they came to the doors of another flat. We saw them, and our friend, who is a lawyer, like official lawyer with official things, so he took the same suitcase, but empty, went out from the basement, not the basement, actually, from the entrance, with a suitcase, with empty one. And just in 1 minute, maybe like 30 seconds, was like 5 police guys surrounded our lawyer saying that we have a special information that there is a person inside the suitcase. Can you please open it? And he is like, this is lawyer's property. You cannot even touch it. I will not doing that. And we were recording all of that to the video from the balcony. So we saw all of this, episode. And that was, a dialogue between the lawyer and these 5 police. And they were like, yeah, we understand everything is probably not so usual, not so common, but please, can you please open this suitcase? In the end of the story, after 5 minutes, he opened the suitcase and it's empty. And we were shouting from the balcony that they are idiots.
Incredible stories.
Let me add something.
Alexander.
I just like to add that this is probably kind of media effect, because media always likes like simple detective-like Hollywood stories. But I think it's too much accent, too much focus on this story. Because, for instance, all 2018 and maybe part of 2019, Masha was living in Russia also illegally, and it's kind of routine. The only difference is that now she left without proper Russian international passport. That's the only difference. But she had bans
that was no
for travel like several times, and she left the country anyway. But after her interview to New York Times, when it was such an inflated story, everybody started to ask this question. But I think that it's a little bit a wrong shifting of accent from the emphasis, from the essence of what Masha says from stage and in her social networks and in her political actions to like how she escaped. Because, listen, to escape from Russia, it's not that difficult. Russian border protection is weaker, believe me, than German border protection, and much more weak than, for instance, American border protection. But for whatever Masha says on stage, whatever she says in her social networks, whatever she says in her political actions, she now can get up to 15 years in prison. That's all of us. That's what should be the center of attention. Please just understand, it's much more important.
Alexander, you say you don't really appreciate that media focus on, for example, Masha's escape story. But isn't it exactly that what makes people all over Europe, also those who haven't known or maybe heard about Pussy Riot one day before, make aware and make them open for the political message of the collective?
Yes, but again, the escape from Russia is not different from, let's say, escape from Germany or from United States, but whatever she says on stage, it's very different in terms of treatment of Russia, who can put her to prison for this. That's, I think, very obvious thing, what I say.
I want to add, unfortunately, I skipped the first part of the question, but is it correct that you asked that without this amazing, how you call it, escape, that will be no tour? That's not true. I mean, this tour was planned actually half a year ago, and that was all going good. The problem was I believed and expected to finish the fucking criminal case like it was written. I received 1 year of restriction of freedom, but these assholes lost my criminal papers in the appeal court for 3 months. They were just like in Kafkian story, saying that we don't know where it is, and somehow they prolonged it half year more. And in one moment, and then war started. And in one moment I just understood that it's, you know, I want to do the tour, which was planned. And I want to write a new song against the war. And this is not a problem to spend 21 days in prison. I spent there more than 21 days. So that was my wish to speak now with you. That's not, I mean, and the green uniform was just one of the ways.
And I think that's also a problem with the media, because they like interesting stories. So many journalists, instead of asking us about, you know, political prisoners, etc., they're asking, oh, you escaped in this green uniform, tell me about that, you know. But a lot of people escaping Russia, not only Russia, Belarus as well, people, you know, swimming the rivers to escape from dictatorship. And nobody knows about them because they're not famous. And this happens every day. And just because Pussy Riot got so many attention in media back then, now we have this fame to, you know, promote these messages and talk about political prisoners. This is what's important, not, you know, the funny story from the Hollywood plot.
And also I should say that my wish was to cross the border legally. I didn't want to go through the river, through the forest, because it's no way back. So yeah, that was, you know, I worked on legal way. That was even harder.
And actually, I want to back to Ukraine. The people die right now.
So this kind of story of so-called escape, it makes all our story more, let's say, romantic. But this is kind of trick. I mean, the escape is trick. And the essence of the message and the essence of political action and the message of art is much more important than trick. Okay, let's speak about trick, but like 5% of time, 95%, let's speak about essence.
Now you see what's happening with people after 50 interviews about green uniform.
You said there's no way back, as you had to do it this way. Are you afraid you can...
What do you mean no way back? There is...
To your home country, to friends and family.
We want to talk about Ukraine and the war crimes that Putin is in his army committing in Ukraine. That women being raped there, people, kids dying there every day. We want to talk about Western hypocrisy, especially Western politicians and their actions. We want to talk about hypocrisy of European Union, that still, after it been 3 months of the war, and they're still talking about how to avoid sanctions and buy Russian gas and oil with rubles. We want to talk about this. Can we talk about this?
Okay, but you also have to accept that if people ask you something, please be so kind to answer this.
I think, okay, I have, I think, a compromise decision, because there were a lot of questions from you, so we can give mic to audience.
You want to ask the audience?
Yes.
Okay. Gibt es Fragen aus dem Publikum?
Guess there's a question right here.
Ezra, это Ezra.
Okay. Achso.
Ja, klar.
Наконец-таки я пробился к микрофону. Здравствуйте. Я пробился. Я скажу быстренько на русском языке, чтобы вы поняли. Ой, я очень нервничаю. Так, значит, меня зовут Эзра, и я из Питера. Это означает очень много для меня, видеть русских, которые против Путина и геноцида украинцев. Тем более, что я не могу ничего сделать против этого здесь, в Германии. Спасибо, что вспомнили про Невзорова. Я открытый антифашист, транс, против войны и помогаю большому количеству украинцев в Саарбрюкене. Я спрашивал вашего менеджера, смогли вы прийти на митинг, но я знаю, что это невозможно, да?
А когда?
Это, значит, митинг в Саарбрюкене в 1:00 дня. Но я думаю, не сможете, да? Это тяжело будет.
У нас завтра 10 часов езды. Я бы с радостью.
Да.
Но мы...
Can anyone translate these into English?
No, I will translate it.
That'll be great.
I will translate it. I will say the same thing in English. Ну да. И хотел просто сказать, конечно, спасибо за ваше время, что вы это делаете, и что ваш менеджер все-таки ответил на мой вопрос.
Продюсер.
Продюсер, да.
Спасибо.
Да, потому что это... Okay. So, und jetzt noch einmal auf Englisch.
So the question was about our possible participation tomorrow in the anti-war meeting in Saarbrücken.
Подождите. Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Ezra and I'm from St. Petersburg. It means a lot for me to see you guys over here, since there is no way I could join the good fight against Putin and his genocide against Ukrainian people. Since I'm an open anti-fascist, queer, and against the war, I started actively helping Ukrainian refugees in Saarbrücken. I know that logistically it's not possible for them to join our weekly demonstration against the war in Ukraine, but I hope some likely-minded people will join us tomorrow in Saarbrücken at 1300 at Belisaplatz. Well, only banners against the war are allowed, and thank you very much for your time and everything you are doing. It's very important to raise your voice in such complicated times.
Thank you, Ezra. I want to add something, and I want to say that I believe that this is wrong to say that you can't do anything, because you can. You can influence you can influence your politicians. You can help Ukrainian refugees. Я знаю, я вообще в целом для всех хочу сказать это, что это важно. And it's great that you're already helping Ukrainian refugees. And this is my message to everyone who think that they can do anything about it. You always can host Ukrainian refugees. You can always donate to Ukraine and help Ukrainians. You can always go to the street and protest your government and influence your government to be more honest and to remind them about European values that we all stand for. It's a lot of ways, and I would like to start the global anti-war movement, because this is a very important point right now in our history. We all should do something to stop Putin. And it's not only Russians, it's not only Ukrainians. You should be very naive to think that this war is very far from you. It's not that far. And if you think that Putin wants only Ukraine, you're very wrong. This can happen in Germany, this can happen everywhere if you will forget about the freedom, if you will forget about your values, and we all should be united by our values.
Jetzt, wo ich gerade noch hier unten bin,
Скажи про Саарбрюкен. Ну, надо ответить. I mean, I personally really want to go, but we have, I think, via the tour, through the whole, tour, we have 15 hours of driving tomorrow, 15. So, I would be happy to come back and to participate in the protest.
ist noch eine Frage aus dem Publikum. Gerne. Ich kletter mal da durch.
Ich würde auch kurz auf Russisch und dann ganz kurz auf Englisch. Вы как раз сказали уже, ну, избегать легко, чем остаться в стране. И я просто хотела спросить, есть какие-то организации, где можно покупать как сим-карточки или что-то? Потому что у меня, у бабушки, у нее никогда не было как смартфона, и теперь у нее Телеграм, и двоюродный брат тоже в войне, и есть какие-то возможности.
Is it possible to make it in English? Because otherwise,
okay.
no, yeah, okay.
So I wanted to ask if there are any organizations where you can buy like SIM cards or
SIM card
write
for what?
with people from Russia, because like my grandmother, she never had a smartphone and now she has Telegram because everything is banned.
And where is she?
In Mikhailovka.
Okay.
Возле Кормиловки, it's like from Omsk.
Okay.
Yeah.
And?
We didn't get the part with SIM cards.
So is there any chance to be in contact with people in Russia?
Of course.
So like an organization where you can tell them like the news.
Yeah, like
you know?
we
Okay,
have connection.
so, yeah,
or buy them like SIM cards.
okay,
like
Russia
for
is, it's very easy to buy the SIM card in Russia.
without
and
ID.
it's possible to buy it with ID.
And without ID.
And without ID as well. In Germany, it's, by the way, not possible without ID. Anyway, yeah. So the question, I think, was about how to be in contact with Russian people who are in Russia, and what kind of messages or messengers or, you know, something, подожди, you can use, right? Like WhatsApp,
yes.
Telegram, right?
Yes.
This is a question.
Not really. So if there's an organization where you can tell people, like people from Germany, can be in contact, like Одноклассники oder so.
Мы можем с вами, я думаю, обменяться контактами. Если вам нужны контакты организаций, которые помогают беженцам, мы вас свяжем. У нас много таких.
We just didn't understand the question. So Lucy thought that it's about refugees and help to refugees, but we don't understand the question because, yeah, I know I bought once a SIM card in Germany. It took like almost 1 week for me to get registered.
You mean your
calls?
family?
I had to say, this is me, this is my passport, let me photo you, whatever. So, I don't know, but anyway, it's...
Yes, the question was how to communicate with a country that doesn't let anything out.
No, it's very easy to communicate with Russians. Hopefully we don't have
Okay.
Iron curtain yet.
No, it's fortunately still rather easy. Every Russian could communicate with everybody in the world. So far, it's not
extremely easy. And even, okay, we have, after the war started, Instagram and Facebook were, like, became by the so-called Russian law and extremist organizations. So it sounds very absurd, but now, if you, like, officially, we don't have these cases yet, but officially by the law, if you, for example, buy advertisement at Instagram, by the law, you're sponsoring extremist organization, and this is up to 5 years in prison. But I should say everyone use Instagram via VPN. And there are amazing initiatives. For example, Doxa Journal, which I highly recommend you to check out. It's amazing student protest leftist journal. Four editors of this were under criminal case a year. A year they were under house arrest, and they received 2 years more. So this journal, after the war started, they provided 10,000 free VPN accounts for all Russians. And it's just one initiative of one student journal, and we have a lot of them now. And also, I mean, you can use WhatsApp and Telegram and Facebook Messenger, like everything.
Yeah, but
It's just very dangerous for Russians who are in Russia to post the information. For example, like any article from Guardian, or even, you know, your own words about what happened in Bucha with photos, that will be a criminal case. But messages are okay. If you're not planning to, like, you know, bomb Kremlin immediately, it's okay.
Wir machen
We
noch
got
zwei
one more
Fragen.
question. I will translate it. She's not talking English. Her name is Julia. She's from Austria. And she said she had a lot of struggles with the police, and her son was taken. And actually, the question is if there's like any way she can get in contact with you, like there's any way to join your collective. So it's a pretty personal one.
Any way to contact us?
Yeah.
Just exchange contacts with us and that's it?
She just want to join you.
Okay. Cool?
So is this like a yes and no?
Yes, yeah, we just will give you our contacts and that's it.
Und das ist alles. Thank you so much.
Gibt es noch irgendwo
One
eine,
last question?
eine letzte Frage noch?
Ich komme zu dir, warte.
Er meint's ernst, er ist sehr schnell.
Ja, ich bin ja da.
Thank you very much. I only wanted to say there's not only oil and gas. Even here in Saarland, there are industries which still make money with Russia, for example, selling products like warehouses. So please look not only for gas and not only for oil. Look what, for example, shops like which are nearly here selling and making money still with Russia.
Yeah, I wanted to say you're right, and I want to create this association in your mind between images from Bucha, between pictures from our protests when police beat people and activists in Russia, and I want to create this bridge between having business with Russia, dealing with Russia, doing business with Russia, and paying Russia. This is the consequences. So I think this is what you're talking about.
And yeah, at this point, I think our main message is any gesture is important. Just don't think that all of this belongs to your politician. It belongs to you, and you can decide, and you really can change things. This is, I mean, the whole performance a different way, and us here just saying one simple things, but we repeating it from time to time, just make you understand this. And
it's so absurd that we Russians telling
come
Europeans
on.
about that you have a right to protest, because guys.
No, it's okay. It's I mean, the thing is that I believe that Russia, I mean, real Russia, is a part of Europe, and the main basis of European civilization is a right of each person to live, is a right of life. This is the basis of which European civilization, you know, decided to have after the Second World War, that each life is important. And this is very, you know, this is no difference between us at this point. We're all fighting for the same. And somehow, sometimes, at different territories, people just forget that this is the most important thing, not business interests, because you know, you cannot take all the money to your grave. It's no sense of that. but each life is important. And people here sometimes forget about this because you probably think that all of this, calm democracy will stay with you for forever, and something, all these terrible things are happening very far, far away. It's not like this. It's now the situation when we in Russia reading the news that there was an auto rally with this new swastika, this Zeta symbol in Berlin, and 5,000 Germans participating in this rally. I mean, ex-Russians, Germans, like half-half. How that's possible? I was sitting at the flat with this electronic bracelet, and I was just reading that. And, the names of these people who organized this rally, the names of these so-called Russians were found by Ukrainians, not by German people. All the names, that was a campaign for just find the names who actually did that, and that Ukrainian people found them because of the war. And this is unfair, and this is all based on indifference, and just don't be indifferent.
So we're about to come to an end. I want to ask you about the children's hospital in Kyiv that you support. It is is a really important thing for you. How did you find this as your, let me call it your project, your heart project?
Okay, we just decided that despite the fact that we didn't work for 2.5 years, and of course we have to somehow reestablish our personal income, because there was no any tour, no any income during so many years. But we decided that we cannot just make it for ourselves. We have to do significant contribution to help people who suffer in Ukraine. And I started to investigate, and I just don't want to send it anywhere just to make the mark that we've done it. I want to do it really to support those people who deserve and need this support. We spoke with Masha and other people of our team, and we decided that I will speak with friends of mine whom I respect, and I spoke with several musicians. I was a producer of the biggest festival of Ukrainian culture in Russia for several years, and I know a lot of musicians. And one of them, Oleg Skripka, who is one of the most quintessential collector and interpretator for Ukrainian folklore, and also famous rock musician, he suggested me to help this very hospital. It's Ohmad Dit, children's hospital, biggest one in Ukraine with best doctors. And I spoke with 3 people there. I spoke with the chief doctor, who is a very famous cardiosurgeon in Ukraine, and I spoke with the financial people there. I've seen their website, and this doctor told me some really breathtaking stories about how they save lives of children who couldn't be completely saved in their local hospitals. They do like first help, first aid, and then they transport them to this very hospital, and this is the only hospital who can save kids from really severe brain damage, from severe stomach damage, and not only kids but other injured people. And they were so kind of grateful to just to the fact that we initiate this, that we decided that we should do it because we know and we feel, and we kind of are sure that it's a very, very noble and very necessary thing to do.
It's great you're helping there. Maybe some catch the QR code on the video walls before. Not yet, but during the show.
It's also over there in our table. You see this QR code. And of course, it's very important to scan this and do it, because we anyway will send half of our proceeds from merchandise sales to this hospital. But we want you also to do it by your own voluntary wish to send this just directly as well.
So you know what to do. So thank you.
Can I add, please?
You can add something.
I just want to talk.
Diana is really want to tell you about real horrors that are happening right now in Ukraine. Some time ago, it was known, we learned about the story of three kids that being raped by Russian army, by Russian soldiers. Three kids younger than 3 years old. They were raped by a candle. One of the kids was nine months old. Was also a girl. One of the kids, 1 out of 3, died after that. And we want to talk about these horrors and about this war that shouldn't happening right now, and we all should wake up and stop talking about bullshit and make our own action to stop this.
Thank you. Thank you, Pussy Riot. Thanks for sharing your music. Thanks for conveying your message. And thanks for having that talk.
Thank you.
Have a safe trip.
Thank you.
Und vielen Dank, dass ihr heute hier wart. QR-Codes kennen, nicht vergessen beim Rausgehen. Jetzt habt noch einen guten Weg nach Hause und ein schönes Wochenende. Tschüss, danke, dass ihr da wart.